Hey guys and gals, Yumi here, and we're back to talk about the second episode of Dandadan Season 2. And to be honest, it might have been a bit too much for me. So before we dive in, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and let me tell you why I'm feeling this way. Let's go. All right. So while the ballerina episode was definitely sadder, this one, way creepier. Disturbing even, like almost to the point of no return. I mean, what was that story about the child being burned alive? I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. And the worst part, that wasn't even the most disturbing thing going on. Okay, too many emotions, let's take a step back. The episode kicks off with Gigi trying to save Okarun and Momo from the giant worm, and from themselves. Yep, as we saw at the end of episode 1, they'd completely lost it. But not just regular crazy. It was this eerie, death-inviting madness where they didn't even have the will to fight back. They were actually trying to end their own lives. The whole scene is so well-directed and animated, you can feel the chaos. And trust me, it only gets worse from there. Turns out, the suicidal urges were being caused by some kind of spiritual waves emitted by the giant worm. And the only thing that could shield them? An even creepier spirit. Oh my god, those evil eyes and that demonic smile. Nightmare fuel. You'd think, okay, at least they're protected now. Nope. That's when the story drops the spirit's backstory on us and, yep, back to that horrifying part I mentioned earlier. The spirit was actually the ghost of a little boy sacrificed to the worm god ages ago, probably one of the first victims. The way it's shown is brutal. He was isolated from the other kids, locked in a room, starving, dehydrated. You could see it in how thin his limbs were and how cracked his lips looked. Damn, guys, he was just a kid. And here's where it gets even worse. Despite everything, he was still just a child. All he wanted was to play with the other kids he could see through the small barred window, like something out of a prison cell. You could tell they placed that window there intentionally just to torment him, those sadistic bastards. He'd clumsily jump from one foot to the other, mimicking the other children playing, until night fell again, and he was left alone on the cold floor. And honestly, I'm not doing the scene justice. It was horrific. Then came his sacrifice, burned alive while the other kids and their parents gathered around. Buried in the same house where he had been imprisoned, his spirit never left. Actually, he came back, first in his original child form, happy to finally play with the kids he could never reach. But whenever parents saw him, they were driven to suicide, creating more orphans to be buried with him. Besides, the other kids would hate him even more for killing their parents. That was both his curse and his power. Over time, with each soul joining him, his strength grew. But what he needed was a proper vessel to fully return to the world and, according to him, erase humanity. And honestly, could you blame him? Anyway, Gigi turned out to be the perfect host, probably because of his unusual spiritual energy. And so, the spirit finally had what it wanted. That's how that purple character with the evil third eye, the one from the opening and trailers, came to be. He obliterates the worm in seconds. And if you thought for a second he might be an ally, you weren't paying attention. Next thing you know, he's chasing Momo, trying to kill her, and he nearly succeeds, if not for Okarun showing up at the very last second. The episode wraps up with Gigi, now possessed, and Okarun trading these epic high kicks. Oh, and apparently, some of the purple demon's powers are soccer-related. Remember that quick gag in episode 1 where Okarun had to guess Jin's favorite soccer team? Well, turns out that wasn't a throwaway scene. It actually ties to this moment. Nice little detail. Okay, before I forget, there's one thing I really disliked. Yet another convenient plot device from the author. For most of the time Gigi is chasing Momo, Okarun is just gone. Nowhere. Like, maybe he was off taking his grandma to a Muay Thai class or something. It's super obvious the writer wanted to set up that classic last-second rescue moment, like a damsel in distress scene straight out of an old fairy tale. Eye roll. Overall, an intense episode I probably won't watch ever again. And really, if the author's goal is to make viewers deeply uncomfortable, it's an 8 or 9 out of 10. But for me, it went a little too far, lost its touch a bit. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. All right, guys, now it's your turn. Drop your scores and thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.